On the 7th day of BrandMAS, my true self gave to me tips on selling and sales copy. Ooh, I said it. I always say this, the S word. Because yeah, it can feel a little bit icky, can't it? Or it certainly used to for me. I don't mind it now, which shows that if you work on the mindset, I always say it's mindset and strategy, working on the mindset around selling and stepping up and putting yourself out there makes a huge difference. It really does, because it's all about that belief, which do you know what? Let's go into the tips and I'll come back to that. So selling. Let's start with number one. I'm actually going to start with mindset and checking in around that. Do you believe in the transformation that you give? So we've looked at your niche and your message, that transformation. What does working with you give? What do your products or services give that's going to change their life? And I want you to believe that. You can always check back in. If there's something feeling a little bit off with that, it will show in the way you think about sales. That is my top tip. Get back into that alignment of what it is you do. So yeah, mindset, check in, because once you do fully believe in what you give, what it brings, what your products and services bring, there'll be no guilt, because you know you are helping them. Think of it from a consumer point of view. You've got a problem, you need it solving. You go to that said person who has promised, or you just know that can help you out. Think of a specific experience if you need to. How did that feel when they solved that for you, when they helped you? Would you want them to feel guilty for that? Would you give them the money and want them to feel guilty giving the money, or would you happily give it and be so grateful? Yeah, you would. That's how you need to feel about yourself selling. Not selling yourself, I always say that. Look at it from the consumer's point of view. They don't mind giving you that money. They're probably quite happy to give you that money because you have helped them. And that's going to move them forward, whether it is in their life, their business, whatever area you are in, it's going to help them. So that's number one, is a huge one. Check in with your mindset. Number two, then you might think, right, well, actually these link, because you might start to think, right, okay, so look at my prices. And once you've checked in with the mindset, you might realise that actually you are far too cheap. Whatever your services or products are, I'm forever telling people to put their prices up because it shows your worth. But your mindset has to be right. So you need to know that it's well worth that. But let's think of it another way. If you go to somebody or a shop, a product, whatever it is, and it is dirt cheap, what do you think? Yes, you think, oh, it's a bargain, but you also think, probably not that good. Or let's think of it another way. Same product or same service, if it's coaching service or anything like that, higher value. Well, I've just pretty much answered it. You're going to think it's higher value. So the higher cost, you think, yes, that is worth it. And it can actually help you to step up. If it is a service, a coaching or anything like that, you probably step up with that as well. Think higher end, higher value, and you do up your game. So it shows your worth. It also shows what you think of yourself. So if you're showing your worth as not very much, it's going to show in your energy, and your consumers, your clients, your customers are going to think exactly the same. That is number one reason. I've said that, it's number two, but that is such a key tip to really embody with your mindset and put it out there and see what happens, because they can only say no, but it won't be as, people will say no a lot less than you're thinking to that price. Number three is, this is a good one. I'm picking myself up here, but this is a really good tip, is to give extra, not to charge less. So say if you're still feeling a little bit uncomfortable with those prices you set, because I do think you should go higher end, so it shows your worth, show your confidence in yourself and what you're giving, what you're selling. But if you still think, oh, do you know, I'm still feeling a bit uncomfortable, what could you give that's extra without charging less? So rather than discount him, you could give an extra, say if it was a coaching program, you could give an extra bonus. You could give them a bit more. It could be unexpected, or you could use it in your copy to start the sales copy, which I did say I would touch on. You know, you could start to sell it a bit more by saying this is your bonus if you sign up, especially if you say by a certain date or in full, then that could be the extra. But yeah, never charge less. And that's going to come actually into the next one. Yes, just looking at my list, because I do tend to write them out just so I know exactly what I'm saying to you. Number four is, this is more of a mindset check again, is you can't help everybody. So do you remember was it day number 3? You were testing me now. I think it was, niche. We said, who are you talking to? Yeah, because if you start to wobble on that, this links to selling, because you might think, well, it's a bit unclear. You start to blur your boundaries and you think, I then want to discount, because if you're then talking to the wrong people who aren't your target market, I hope this makes sense, your niche isn't very clear, or you've blurred the boundaries and gone off track a little bit, you might want to start helping everybody, because you might see something, especially if you're doing networking and you're looking at another group, say, or personally to you, and somebody asks a problem, says their problem, and you think, yeah, I can help with that. So maybe it's something that's not necessarily in your niche, in your message anymore, but you know you can help them. You might then think, I can help them with that, and start talking about it, and your message and niche starts to get a little bit blurred, and you're back to being able to help everyone. Then if they're not your target market, they won't want to pay those prices possibly, or you'll feel like you have to discount. So this is why it's super clear, back to that niche, super clear, because it really does help with this as well. You don't want to feel like you're in a position where you want to start discounting because they're not your people. Number 5 is, if you were to discount too much, or say if you start to offer, especially if you're in the early stages, you might actually give a free place for something. You could do it. A really top tip there is, say if it was a course, you could do it as a scholarship or pro bono. If you know you can really, really help somebody, but you might limit it to one per month or one every quarter. That is your choice, but you want that commitment. And this is what I was about to say, that if you do that too often, what you'll find, and think about if you've done this yourself, if you've got like a bargain basement course, have you put that time and energy into it that you would have done it if it was a higher price? Let's go back to number 1 about the price. Check in with that. There's not really a commitment either side, because you didn't pay much for it, or it's free. A bit like that with free challenges as well. I'm going off on one, but you know, that can have the same effect. But there's no commitment from them really, or not as much as you want. There's also probably not the commitment from you. So that's another reason to keep your prices high and not to discount too low, because you'll resent it. You won't give your all to it. They won't really value it themselves. Yeah. So there are your 5 tips on selling and sales. I've just realised I've gone totally over my 5 minutes. But that's such a huge topic for me. I really like to help people with that sales mindset. It really does work hand in hand with your brand. Okay, thank you, and I'll see you in 2 days' time.